Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Kamani, licensed clinical psychologist. We are here for Manifesting Healing Monday. We are waiting for our guests right now. We'll be discussing supporting the healing of Black women in toxic work environments. And I see that people are starting to join now. So welcome. Just wanted to remind you that you have joined my channel, Lifting As We Climb Consulting, Wellness Services, where we focus on supporting the healing of individual and collective healing, right? So in what ways do we manifest healing? And if you've joined into the previous discussions, we've talked about Black women and workplace bullying. We've talked about just in general, Black women and toxic work experiences and environments. And the reason that I'm having these conversations is that I've gotten numerous requests from Black women to continue this work because we often as Black women don't have a place or a space to really be able to talk about our experiences, so we know that we're not alone, that we know that it's not something wrong with us, and that many times we are working in environments where it's a toxic system. So it may not just be one or two individuals, it may be the whole system may be toxic. And so it's important for us to recognize that so we don't start internalizing those negative views about ourselves and that we sabotage ourselves in sense of, self-defeating behavior. So my previous videos talked about the stages of grief in relation to toxic work environments. And just as a summary, many times people feel confused in terms of why would I feel a sense of grief about a toxic work experience, right, or environment. But the grief comes in the sense of, the expectations that you may have had about the job as you came in, the hopes and dreams that you may have had in terms of what you thought you may accomplish in that job maybe doesn't materialize. Also, it may be people that you encountered in the workplace whom you formed relationships with. Maybe you felt like these people were your friends. It may turn out those individuals really were not your friends and maybe have done things to really undermine you in some ways or betray you in some ways. Or there may be situations in which you may have really trusted and had friendships and you really miss being in communication with those friends. So again, the grief is real. And when we don't process the grief, what happens is that we go to the next environment, the next job, the next career, and we can't figure out why we have this lingering feeling that we're not completely happy or there's still something lingering. And so it's very important for us to process the grief so that we are in a better position as we move to more fulfilling work experiences or environments, that we are in a better position to be in environments that really affirm us and really promote and support our professional growth. Because, we work so hard to get to where we are, we want to make sure that we are really being fully supported. Okay, and that we are growing. And so when we are in environments where we feel like we are not growing or that people are putting us in situations where we are not, where our shine or our talents are not really affirmed, then that's a problem. And so we have to recognize that as well and take a step back and say, you know what? Maybe this is not the best environment for me. Maybe I should look into a different environment. And, I talked about also that sometimes when we're in these situations, it can not only cause us to question ourselves, but it can also cause us to question, is this the right career for me, right? Is this the right profession for me? So for us to be mindful that just because we're in a toxic work environment, that does not mean that we need to question our profession. We might still be in the right profession, just in the wrong work environment that's not supporting us. So I see that our guests, I met Marcy. She liked one of my posts. I reached out to her and I, was asking if maybe she could be a guest. because part of what I want to do in the IG Lives is to really give people resources so they know about what is available, right? I don't want us to feel like we're stuck in situations because many times when we go through negative experiences, we feel that there are no options for us. But I want to emphasize we absolutely have options. And so that's why I was reaching out to Marcy to see if she can share some resources with us about if we decide, you know what, maybe I want to go to a different job, maybe a transfer is not enough, maybe I want to try a whole different career. Because sometimes, we might think we want to do something, but when we get into that actual situation, it's not quite what we liked or wanted. And so it might be some tweaking, right? So sometimes we might need support with, developing our resume or interview skills. Or, in terms of the service that I provide a job coaching program for Black women. And that job coaching program helps Black women really process and heal the workplace trauma that they've experienced so that when they go into the next workplace, that they don't carry that over to the new environment. And so they're in a better position and a better space to really receive that information and really feel that they are in the right place. So again, I'm trying to assist our guest who is trying to log on right now, and she's having some technical difficulties. I see people joining in. So while we're waiting for our guest, if you can just maybe type in the chat in terms of what has motivated you to tune in today. I know that we have a range of different experiences. And again, the reason why I'm doing this, the reason why I'm providing a platform is that many times Black women, we suffer in silence. We have these experiences. We've been taught as Black women to stay strong. Don't let people, get the best of you, keep moving. And so when we experience these things, we often have a hard time acknowledging and sitting with, wow, I've been hurt or I'm being hurt in this situation. And sometimes we get in the space of, you're not going to run me out of here, right? So, I fought too hard to be here. You're not going to run me out of here. But we have to just stop and say, you know what? Is this causing me harm or more harm than good? And we know in certain generations, maybe we have been taught by our mothers, just as my mother has taught me, that you stay at a job until you retire, and then you that is really not helpful for us, right? So I see that our guest has joined us. I'm joining her in a moment. Let's see. I see she's joined. So Marcy, I see that you've joined. If you can click the icon so that you can, okay, I see right now. And right now, so let's see. Okay, Marcy,
Hey, I made it. I made it. I made it.
how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I was just telling everyone in terms of the purpose that we're having these conversations. And part of it is to not only let people know that, the experience of workplace bullying or toxic work experiences, unfortunately, is very common for Black women. So that's why I'm continuing this conversation. And we know that many times as Black women, we're taught, keep on moving. You got to be strong, suck it up. Don't let people run you out of here. Like all these things we're taught, but it ends up harming us. And so we know we have to recognize that a job is never worth our health. And so when to say, you know what, this is not working for me and I need to pivot and move on. And so I want us to come from the perspective of that we are victors, not victims. So even though these things have happened to us, what resources do we have as Black women so that we can pivot? And so that's why I reached out to you, Marcy,
Yes.
in terms of being able to share not only your experiences, in your healing journey, but also what resources you have to support Black women. Okay. So I'm going to turn it over to you for you to just introduce yourself briefly, and then we'll go into the dialogue.
Awesome. Well, my name is Career Coach Marcy, and I help my clients secure the career of their dreams for the salary that they deserve. Now, what this basically means is I help my clients actually determine where they are most suited in the workforce. So you're not going to just accept any position. You're going to accept the
Mhm.
one that you absolutely love doing, and you can actually lose time just being so busy doing what you love. So my goal is to make sure you're doing the best of what you want to do for yourself, and understanding how to have that dialogue with individuals who are either recruiters, hiring managers, or even in human resources, so that you can actually make sure you're earning the salary that you absolutely deserve. And I want to thank you so much for having me here today. Thank you.
Yes. So basically, how do we really advocate for us getting our worth? So that we're not just working and working or doing jobs that's not fulfilling for us. So, Marcy, I wonder if you could just share a little bit if you have experienced a toxic work environment, and just briefly, what was that experience like for you? Just so the audience can have some sense of understanding in terms of your history.
Right. So yes, I have experienced it, and I mean, it's strange because I'm in human resources and recruiting. So you
Hmm.
never think someone that's in HR can experience a toxic workplace.
Hmm.
Funny enough, just like everyone else, you kind of aren't sure that that's what just happened.
Hmm.
It just kind of hits you, and it gives you a feeling like, is that, well, that didn't feel good. Wow, what, wow. And you're kind of caught off guard, actually.
Yes.
So to give a little bit of a backstory, I was on a call with other colleagues, and
Hmm.
I was actually asked a question about an employee, and one of the executives said, I am absolutely shocked that you haven't done anything with that when I asked you a month ago to do something. What
Ooh.
exactly have you been doing for a whole month?
In front of
Furthermore,
everybody.
in front of 16 other members of leadership.
Wow.
16. Furthermore, she says, we need to have a conversation offline because I'd like to understand where we are with this. Better yet, let's just end this call now because I don't know how come you're so confused.
Wow. So like the public shaming, right? And it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like questioning your competence. Like, I don't even want to continue this
Right,
conversation right now because I need to check you, basically.
right. And I was
Wow.
absolutely shocked. My manager was on the phone, and he actually joined for the call that followed. What makes it very difficult, though, is the fact
Mhm.
that he joined for the conversation and never interjected
What?
on my behalf. He never jumped in and said, "No, this is what
Wow.
happened." He never said that. Basically, what he did is he sat like a fly on the wall. He listened and allowed her to continue to
To berate
verbally
you.
assault me,
Yes.
and it put me in a place where I was with this company a very long time, and I sat there and I said, wow. And all I could keep saying through the whole entire meeting was, wow, I am floored that this is the way you feel. And that was
Yeah.
kind of how I started, because inside I was starting to get hot, physically hot.
Hmm. Hmm.
I was
Hmm.
beginning to perspire.
Hmm.
It was on my face, it was on my forehead, and I'm kind of sitting and I'm on camera speaking, and I was trying to really control myself. And before
Right.
you know it, I'm kind of looking upward like, do not get so angry that she knows you're angry.
Uh, and
When
that's a
you
challenge for Black women, right? We always have to think
yes,
about that. Even though
I
people are
felt
making us angry and we have a right to be angry, we always have to say, wait a minute, I don't want to fall into that
mm-hmm,
stereotype.
right.
Yes.
And I felt like if she knows you're angry, she now can control you.
Hmm.
So I don't want anyone to have control of how I feel and
Hmm.
what they see in terms of visual display of my feelings. So I
Right.
just kind of sat up, I sat straight up and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry for your confusion. I best recall that you asked me to do this with the situation." And it was
Mm.
in writing. It was in
Oh,
writing. I
excellent.
always ask for everything in
Cover
writing.
yourself. That's right.
Yes. And that is my covering for when you circle back and say, "Well, I told you this." Mm-mm. No, you didn't. So when she
Right.
did that and I reminded her of what she said, "That's not true." I said,
What?
you may take note. I'd love to share my screen. Let's take note of the last correspondence we had about this. I searched
Mm.
every mailbox. And when she recalled, she said, "Oh, but I distinctly remember telling you to do something different." I said, I'm so sorry that it's not here in this correspondence. Everything else
Right.
is, but not
Right.
that part.
Right.
And she says, "Well, no matter. You didn't do what I asked you to do. So we need to determine how we're going to move forward." I said,
So no apology, no acknowledgement that she was
"Nothing,
wrong.
nothing."
Mm.
As she's speaking, I have my cell phone because I'm recording from my cell phone.
Okay.
I don't take meetings without recording from my cell phone while the laptop is actually in the meeting. Reason
Right.
being is you never know. When you're dealing with
Mm.
someone who does not recognize that they're being aggressive or creating a hostile work environment or threatening and
Hmm.
intimidating behavior toward you, they don't recognize it. But when you think that that might be what's happening, you always
Hmm.
need to start recording separately.
Wow. So recording and then documenting later?
Recording the entire session.
Okay.
And and that serves as my documentation.
Okay.
And before you do it, please know you have the right to record any conversation. If it's not admissible, you'll be notified. But in many of our states, it is
Mm.
permitted for one person to record another without their permission. And
That's
all
good
that
to
you have
know.
to do, yes, all that you have to do is be the one person that agreed to be recorded. That's it. So if I
Okay.
agree to be recorded, I can record this meeting. And
Right.
it was amazing how no matter what was being said, she felt
Hmm.
as though she could continue to berate me.
Oh
And it
my
was
God.
so bad. It was so bad that although my manager was on the line and it was just the three of us, still he didn't come to my defense,
Oh
even
my goodness.
when he saw she was wrong. So when
Yeah.
the call ended, I kind of sat and I really I cried.
Yeah. Because you
I
were being attacked.
mentally, well, I didn't even know how to comprehend what just happened. I was thankful that I
Right.
kept my cool, but
Yes.
honestly, what just happened?
Right, right, right. You were blindsided, and it takes a toll on you because you were being blindsided, but you still had to remain composed. You
Right,
know what I'm saying? So it's just like all that pressure in the moment.
right,
But you still got to remember, okay, I know how they might perceive this if I do blah, blah, blah. And Marcy, the pain that knowing that your manager is right there and not protecting you at all. So
right,
that silence was this, that person was being complicit in the
right,
abuse, right? And
right.
so, Marcy, after you process what happened, did you talk to your manager about it later? Like what ended up happening with the manager?
We ended the call, and I'm sitting at my workstation right now as we're speaking. I literally turned away from my laptop and I did just like this. And before I could really process everything and
Hmm.
I could feel the tears welling up, my cell
Hmm.
phone rang and it was him.
Hmm.
And then I had to get creative. I turned on my laptop and turned on voice memo to let it record his conversation. And he says, "Are you okay?"
What?
Acknowledgement that I was
So
just,
he knew. So he knew.
yes,
Yeah.
that was his acknowledgement because why would you ask me if I'm okay?
Right.
So
Right.
now, him saying that led me to understand you knew that what she did was definitely bullying. She
Right.
created a hostile work environment. She
Right.
threatened and intimidated me, not only in front
Mm,
of 16 other members, but also on the phone when you were there.
right.
So you've got a little bit of all three. Now, I'm
Yes.
HR. I've been doing HR for over 3 decades. So I am
Wow.
confused. I mean, I had no words at the moment. And when he said,
Right.
"Are you okay?" I said, "No, no, I am
Mm,
not. I have never been disrespected in a group setting or in an intimate setting like I
mm.
was just a moment ago. It's absolutely unacceptable. I will not sit in any other meetings with her. And if you're not present, there will be no meeting.
Wow.
Furthermore, furthermore, I have the recording.
Okay. Right. So if you want to come back, I got the evidence right here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you set a boundary. Look, you're not putting me in this crazy situation again. Right.
Right,
Just out
right.
there with nobody protecting me. And I have a record of what has happened. So what
Mm-hmm.
ended up happening, Marcy, to the woman?
He
And
he says, "You're 100% right. You're not going to be in a meeting with her alone or in a group setting without the conversation being controlled." And I said, "Well, I appreciate that."
hmm
He says, I understand how upset you are. Please take off the rest of the afternoon." Excuse me?
right.
And just the same way you're looking, I'm thinking to myself, I don't need the afternoon off because I'm going to type my letter to the EEOC right here while I'm still working.
Okay.
We
Okay.
have 180 days from the date of the event to report it.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no way, shape, or form that they can retaliate once you do it.
Ah, that's good information. Now, so you said, Marcy, you have 100, I just want to make sure everyone hears. You have 180 days from the time that it happened to report it, and
Yes.
there should be no retaliation because if there is retaliation, then what happens then, Marcy?
You document the retaliation and add it to the case.
Ah, okay, okay. So, Marcy, you know what's so interesting about your story, because I've heard this story so often, is the system doesn't chastise or check the bully, right?
Right,
So it might be, oh, you take the rest of the afternoon off. Okay, we'll make sure this doesn't happen to you. But this person can just run amok because they
right.
haven't been checked. And so the system just kind of feeds in and supports and keeps the system going, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
saw someone in the chat talk about, as Black women, we are not given the space to acknowledge that we've been hurt. It's kind of
Right,
like, yeah, you can take it. Oh, you're strong. Oh, move on, whatever. But it's like, no, we're hurting. We're
right.
hurting.
I was devastated. And when I tell you
Yeah.
devastated, he didn't hear my emotion. But when I finished talking to him, I turned in my chair and went to walk out that door right there. And you would almost think I was at my office the way I turned away and walked so that no one could see or hear
Hmm.
and just cried. And
Wow.
I could not contain myself because all I thought was, what did I do? And we're
Mm.
always looking at ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
And honestly, there was nothing that I was wrong in doing. And I had
Right.
proven it in the conversation and in the meeting. But I
Right.
still felt, why does she dislike me so much that she
Right.
treated me this way?
Right. Like we're trying to find a logical understanding of something that's not even logical. It's just crazy.
Right,
And I think
right,
for what we normally do, and some level, yes, it's important to self-assess. Like, did I do something? Did I do something? But as Black women, we often take on the ownership. I must have done something. What did I do for somebody to treat me like this? But not
right.
recognizing that people have their own mess and their own misery and their own projected incompetence, and they project it on us. And so
Right.
we need to sit in that and recognize that so we don't take it in. So it calls you to
Mm-hmm.
question yourself. What other types of symptoms did you experience, Marcy, after that situation? So physical, psychological, spiritual, what
I was
impact did that have
just
on you?
honestly, I was just in tears like for days.
Oh,
And all I could think is, what is wrong here? And lastly, why am I still here?
yes, yes, yes,
And
yes.
this wasn't the very first interaction that was strange. This
Hmm.
was probably the third or fourth time that I felt as though, hey, she was a little abrupt. What's happening?
Right.
Maybe it's something I said, how I said it. Maybe it was something I did. I'm not really
Mm.
sure, but what is it that is happening with her and I that just
So the
does not
pattern of behavior.
right? And
Yes.
and I learned from my manager that is how she is.
See?
And
But
wait,
they allowed her to stay like that?
right,
Right.
right. So I'm happy that when I had the conversation with him, I was comfortable enough to say,
Hmm.
"Hey, this is no good. Hey,
Yeah.
this is what I'm going to do." And I have it recorded. That prompted further investigation.
Hmm.
Now, the way that it ended up resolving itself
Hmm.
isn't the best
Hmm.
because it's still kind of unresolved.
Oh, wow.
And unfortunately, it still will move all the way through the entire proceeding with the EEOC. But the conversation was had. Not really
Yes.
sure if she understood it because she turned around and did it to my assistant a month or so later.
Mm. Wow.
So she did it. She did it. And it wasn't that it was me that
Hmm.
did something wrong the first time. It was
Yes.
that's her normal response to when things don't go her way.
Right. Again, projected incompetence. And so what's interesting too, Marcy, is that you were able to sit back and say, it's not just me. So it's
Mm-hmm.
valid, but still very sad. And
Right.
then you took recourse. So in you taking that recourse and going to the EEOC, did that in any way impact ways that this experience had a hold on you?
It
Standing up for
actually
yourself.
it helped me feel empowered that there is a voice that will be
Hmm.
heard. No
Yes.
matter what the outcome, it is known, it is being investigated. There are
Yes.
additional people who have claimed as well for the
Hmm.
same behavior from the same person. So
Wow.
that's why it's still ongoing.
Yes.
And I'm finding that the systems that are in place to protect us
Hmm.
are wonderful as
Hmm.
long as we do our homework and collect the data the right
Mm.
way. Me
Okay.
writing it down is great. Me recording it is proof.
It's golden. It's golden. It's
Yes.
golden because you have all that backup, right?
Right.
And so,
Right.
wondering too, Marcy, you talked about being in that moment as she's attacking you and trying to retain your composure, and you felt like your body was having a reaction to it. So I'm
Yes.
just thinking about just as us as Black people, how we have higher rates of hypertension and all these different things that we have going in the world because we are so aware of how people see us. And so we have to respond in a certain way. But it relates to an article that I recently read too about Black women that we're dying at younger ages because of external factors such as
Right.
job stress. And so, Marcy, if you could share with the audience, like, what has your healing journey been? Because that sounds horrific.
Mm. Meditation, yoga, prayer, and acknowledging that we are different. We
Yes.
have different mindsets,
Hmm.
beliefs, traditions, and everything. And
Yes.
just acknowledging that I am very different from who she is
Hmm.
was a lot for me. The
Mm.
entitlement that she felt to have the conversation she did,
Mm.
no more will I suppress my tongue. I will mind what I say, but I
Yes.
will sharpen this sword and
Yes.
utilize it as needed and
Yes.
articulate eloquently so she has the understanding we're not going to have this conversation again. So
Right.
when I now speak with her,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just as I'm speaking to you,
Mm-hmm.
and straight faced. And now she
Right.
understands. She said to me, "You seem like a different person." I'm the person that you didn't think that I was.
Right.
Basically, I am who I am. Nothing's
Right.
changed. I just
Right.
handle you and deal with you accordingly because
Right.
I now understand that you don't have respect for any of us in the department.
Mm.
And it wasn't
And,
just me as a black
right.
woman, it was
Right.
everyone.
Wow. Wow. And you were able to stand up to her because bullies will continue the bullying behavior until
Mm-hmm.
people stand up to them. And so
Right.
you took that courageous step and said, no more. So, Marcy, I'm wondering, did that experience then help you develop your business, or had you already been doing your business before then? I'm just wondering about the connection.
Right. I had been doing my business before then. And when I say this happened, um, that is the most recent story, as in not months old. Right.
Wow.
So I am still living it, not experiencing it though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've processed it. I'm dealing and coping with it.
Yes.
And I'm now very calm when I have those conversations in
Mm-hmm.
group settings
Mm-hmm.
because there's an understanding. So there has been conversation. A lot has been remedied, but the one thing we don't get as black women is acknowledgement and an apology.
Okay. Right. Right. We either get, oh, well, she did this, 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 and this, but not looking at, well, what caused her to do this, this, and this, and this,
Right,
right? And wow, well, she went to the EEOC. Why didn't she come talk to us? Well, first, you should have known that that was inappropriate, right?
right,
So all these things, but it still deflects any sense of responsibility or accountability. And you're putting it back on them. No, you are accountable and responsible. And I think sometimes what we get stuck in is we try to figure out the why. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Right. And the other part is, I just want an apology. Right. But the thing is that we may never know why,
right,
and we may never get an apology. So we
right,
still have to find ways of still moving on and healing ourselves and not making it contingent on these people who are so miserable that they're not going to be able to even do that.
right.
So, in terms of your business, Marcy, I wonder if you could just share with the audience as we're winding down, what resources do you have to offer people in general and specifically for Black women who are trying to heal from toxic work environments?
Oh, ooh, okay. If you have experienced a toxic work environment and just need someone to talk to, please, please, please know that there is an audience. I can put you in contact with the correct people that can legally assist you and also offer counseling to you because
Mhm.
I needed a little bit of both. The
Yes.
way that it wound down my day, offering to give me the rest of the day off, that didn't fix anything. It didn't. I
Right.
still had to come back to it the next day. So
Right.
anyone who has experienced any type of mistreatment in the workplace, please reach out to me. I offer complimentary resume review and a free 1 hour career coaching session. And I also provide resources to help you if you feel you have been mistreated in the workplace, whether it be discrimination, whether it be bullying, hostile work environment, or threatening and
Mhm.
intimidating in the workplace. All of
Mm.
those things I help my clients with so that they can A, identify when it's happening, and B,
Yeah.
know how to respond without
Yeah.
blowing your top. Because
Yeah.
I felt as though this very chair I'm sitting in was about to be flipped over.
Woo.
I really wanted to, I wanted to.
Yes.
If I didn't have an L-shaped desk that was a rising desk, I would have flipped this too.
Wow.
That's how
Wow.
upset and hurt I was. And
Yeah.
And that is part of the reason why I offer the services that I do, because sometimes we don't know where to go, we don't know what to do. We tell our loved ones and they say, oh, I wouldn't have went, girl, I wouldn't have had that, I would have quit. Well, wait a second, I understand. You wouldn't have, because you
Right.
still have to pay the same bills I pay every month, and
Right.
we don't just walk off jobs. But I'm here
Right.
to help individuals that go through those sorts of things. So I provide one-on-one coaching as well as group coaching. I have a 6-week accelerated career coaching program called Career Maven Academy, where I help my clients identify the career journey that's best for them, so that we
Hmm.
can move on from the things that have been holding us back the entire time, so that we
Yes.
can
Yeah.
actually say, you know something, that happened to me, but guess what?
Yeah.
I went ahead and secured another career for an extra $10,000 to $25,000 a year in 6 weeks' time, working with Coach Marcy.
Wow.
That is one of the top things that I offer. I also
Yeah.
offer interview flashcards. Now, this is something that I have that's new. So wait a second. You have those recruiters that put you in a room and they sit you there and they have you feel nervous. And then before you know it, you've got a panel of people that may be sitting in front of you,
Hmm.
almost like a jury. And
Right.
they already put you in a very strange place, and they just start
Right.
barreling down with questions. You're not
Yeah.
sure who to look at, what to say, how to say
Yeah.
it, and what to do when the room gets silent. So my
Hmm.
interview flashcards can help you through that part of the interview. I'm
Hmm.
also in the process of releasing Interview the Interviewer, because guess what? The same way they want to make you sit under that light and
Yeah.
feel like they've got a flashlight in your face, and they ask you these questions that probe and have you really think and you're confused.
Hmm.
I've got those questions for you to be able to ask them as well, because guess what? We are in the business of selecting our employer. Our
Yes.
employer does not select us. I have a choice whether to accept that role. And guess what? Now that I know I have that choice, I'm having great conversations and I'm helping everyone else have those conversations as well. So if you've been laid off, reduced in the workforce, terminated, no matter what it is, if you feel that, oh, well, I have a misdemeanor or a felony on my jacket, it does not matter. I can still help you secure that career that you want to be in for the
Hmm.
salary that you deserve. So I want to thank you. I want to
Wow.
thank you.
Well, I just want to say, Marcy, you have so many resources. I'm just like, whoa. I mean, it's just like so many things to think about. And again, reminding people that they have choice is essential, especially when you feel stuck or there's no options or anything like that. There are options. There are people there to support. Coach Marcy, reach out to her. How would they contact you, Coach Marcy?
So I can be found on Instagram as Career Coach Marcy. My Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn are all Career Coach Marcy. That is Marcy. So don't forget, I do offer complimentary resume reviews, and I do
Hmm.
provide recommendations within 72 hours. Ladies, we have the ability to rewrite our entire career if we want. And I'm here to help you do so by giving you also 1 free hour of career assessment coaching, and also helping you map your journey, because it's very important to understand you don't have to stay where you are. Even when they
Right,
tell you that there are no jobs, that is not true, because guess
right.
what doesn't fit someone else may be a fit for you, and I am here to
Yeah.
help you secure that. So please reach out, and you can also call me right on my cell phone, because I have that right inside of my bio, as well as my email address. So go ahead and send over those resumes, send me a text, give me a call. I'm available on all those platforms.
Yes, yes, yes. So please reach out to Coach Marcy, knowing that she knows what it's like. She's been on the other end, right? And the beauty about Coach Marcy is that she is in human resources. So she has that extra lens that most of us are not even aware of. We don't know a lot of the, protocol or next steps or resources, but she has all of that and she's available to offer support. So, Coach Marcy, again, I want to thank you so much for joining today. You just out of the blue, I reached out to you and you were so kind, to be willing to be a special guest. And my hope is that our audience members will reach out to you and share your information with other people. So again, I want to thank the audience for tuning in today for Manifesting Healing Monday. I will see you next Monday as we will continue to talk about ways of supporting Black women in toxic work environments. If you would like to see my other videos about Black women and work environments, toxic work environments, please tune into my YouTube channel, Lifting As We Climb Consulting, Wellness Services. Also, as a reminder, I have a job coaching program, which is a little different what Coach Marcy has. Mine deals more in terms of getting your mind together so that you are in the best position to utilize the services and resources that Coach Marcy has. So if you want more information about that, you can go to my website, liftingasweclimbconsulting.com, and there's a section that talks about job coaching. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Thank you again, Coach Marcy, and I will see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.